How's it going, Yankee fans? My name is Alex and my co-host here, Ryan Garcia, and we have to figure out what is going on with the Yankees right now. I think it's pretty straightforward. They are striking out too much. They're not making enough contact, and Aaron Boone's blaming things on the weather after the game. Said Aaron Judge's homer should have been 390 feet. Maybe he's right, but you can't start blaming the freaking wind for losing games and scoring only 2 runs. And I understand Framber Valdez was electric yesterday. He was fantastic. He was great during the regular season. Definitely right up there in the Cy Young conversation with Justin Verlander. But the guy was throwing curveballs every strikeout pitch. Like, that was the pitch he was using to strike guys out. They knew it was coming, and they still couldn't hit it. It was one of the most embarrassing performances against a primary curveball pitcher that I've ever seen. They knew it's coming. They still couldn't do it. That's like if the Astros were cheating, knew what pitch was coming, and still weren't hitting the pitches. That's basically what this was. The Yankees knew the curveball was coming. He was throwing it so much late in the count with 2 strikes, and they legit just could not catch up. And they were sitting fastball, and they weren't getting it. And the Yankees ultimately couldn't really do anything. The only reason they scored 2 runs to begin with is because Framber Valdez literally caused himself 2 runs. That's just embarrassing. If you're going to live and die by the home run, this is the results. You're seeing elite pitching, doesn't give up many home runs, and the Yankees, for some reason, while they did show some contact capabilities during the regular season, it's gone. Like, they can't hit for contact now. And it's kind of sad to see that, Stanton and Judge after are like, we just have to put the ball in play. Like, their entire mantra is hit strikes hard, and their 2 biggest sluggers are now talking against the mantra. They're now like, we just got to get the ball in play. We can't always be trying to hit homers. We just got to get the ball in play. Good things happen when you get the ball in play. And I'm like, this sounds like they want to be the Guardians, but their entire mantra is always hit home runs, hit strikes hard. And against elite pitching, sometimes you just got to make contact. 30 strikeouts in 2 combined games is not where you want to be. If you're the Yankees. So that's a testament to how poor they've looked offensively, Ryan. But, what's your impression, your thoughts? I know you have a lot to say, and I know we're both pissed off, and I'm sure the rest of you guys are as well.
Yeah, so the first thing I want to mention is against Framber Valdez, the New York Yankees chased 42% of pitches out of the zone. 42%. That means if Framber Valdez threw a pitch out of the zone, almost half the time the Yankees were swinging at it. And let's just be real here. When you're swinging out of the zone, the Yankees, you're not going to make a lot of contact. Only 26% of pitches outside the zone the Yankees made contact on. So, they're whiffing at everything. Even in the zone, right, their zone swing percentage against Framber Valdez was pretty high at 67%, but Framber Valdez generated a 46% whiff percentage. So the Yankees were swinging at pitches in the zone and out of the zone, and they looked like they were just going up there swinging. They couldn't make any contact for their lives. And the first step of hitting a home run is putting the ball in play, right? You can't hit a home run on a strikeout. One thing that was really infuriating about this game was a sinker is a pitch that you typically look at as not a whiff pitch, right? That's a pitch you're going to get contact on. The Yankees whiffed on 32% of Framber Valdez's sinkers. That's not acceptable. There's nothing I can realistically say about this team and this offensive performance that I can pull any positives out of. The pitching's been good enough. The Yankees gave up 4 runs in game 1 and 3 runs in game 2 against this Houston offense at Minute Maid. That's good enough for me, right? I know Severino made that mistake to Bregman, and his comments about that mistake are worse, honestly, than the mistake itself, in my opinion. But if you look at this pitching staff and what they've done in the postseason, except for that game 3 where, they blew it, there is not a single game where the pitching staff has not done enough for the New York Yankees to win the game. If you want to sit here and tell me the Yankees giving up, if you were to say the Yankees are going to give up, are going to, hold the Astros to a 3.5 ERA in the first 2 games of the series, you'll say, okay, we should have at least 1 win. No, we don't. We've scored, nothing. We can't do anything with runners in scoring position. We can't do anything when the game matters most. We can't do anything remotely resembling winning baseball in these situations. And it's infuriating because it's the same story every single year, right? The Yankees go into October and they can't hit. Right. That's been the mantra of this team. Every year we tell ourselves this team is different, and it's infuriating. Right. Am I sitting here and tell you the series is over? Absolutely not. Right. The series in my eyes is not over until the Astros or Yankees collect 4 wins in this series. That's textbook definition. That's how the ALCS works. But at the same time, these are uninspiring performances. And now the Yankees are going to have to win a game at Minute Maid if they want to win this series. And you're asking yourselves to sweep the Astros for 3 straight games at home and then go back to Minute Maid. And that's the only situation where you're up. If you're going to Minute Maid down 3-2 in the series, do we have much confidence that the Yankees are going to pull off 2 wins at Minute Maid, especially back-to-back? I don't have that confidence. The offense hasn't shown up. Judge has had a quiet series. Overall, this team just doesn't look like they're capable of going on and winning. And I say Judge had a quiet series, not to say that this is all on him, but more so because who else are you going to expect offense out of? Rizzo, Judge, Stanton, and you got to pray that you get offense somewhere else. This lineup is every single year routinely extremely flawed. There's no reason why Josh Donaldson's hitting sixth on a team that's trying to win a World Series. Kawagashioka's hitting seventh on this team. That's not to put down Kawagashioka. It's not Kawagashioka's fault he's hitting seventh. He's not going to say, Aaron, I'm hitting seventh. I should be hitting like ninth because we should have more talent than this. That's a stupid thing to say. He would never say that. So this team, you're facing the Astros. You're not being the Astros with your backup catcher hitting seventh and relying on him to be a key contributor for this offense. This team is just incomplete. They feel incomplete. They feel like a team that, we look at this lineup, we say, okay, at the deadline, we'll fix this and that. Not a team that, this doesn't look like the team that went out and made a lot of moves at the deadline. And yes, Benintendi getting injured, you can't put that on Cashman. You can't put that on anyone. But what you can put on these guys? You can put on the fact that, their shortstop is a rookie and he has no experience and they didn't give him the shot to have experience. And we could sit back and say they paid Josh Donaldson $20+ million to get IKF. And instead of just going out and getting one of those big time shortstops, I will tell you right now, looking at that TBS booth, the shortstop that was in that booth, Carlos Correa, should be on the field for us, right? He should be wearing those Yankee road grays. We shouldn't be looking at Josh Donaldson at third base. I'm not gonna harp on the offseason too much, but overall this team just feels incomplete. We waited a whole year for this, and this team is still extremely incomplete at this time of the season.
I'll take it one step further. We're paying Josh Donaldson the same amount as the Astros are paying Justin Verlander this year. Just soak that in for a second. Just let that freaking sit. That pisses me off more than anything. The Yankees lowballed Verlander. They offered him a 1-year, $25 million deal. Astros gave him a 2-year, $50 million deal with a player option after the first season. And he's going to win the Cy Young this year. The Yankees continuously shoot themselves in the foot, continuously make decisions that flabbergast myself, Ryan, and the rest of us. And like you just mentioned, the Peraza decision, they stood by IKF so ungodly, disciplined with their confidence in him. And I don't really get it, because if you're going to bench somebody 3 games into the ALDS, maybe we should have saw that coming. Maybe the Yankees, who are the ones that are being paid millions of dollars to evaluate talent, should have seen this coming, because everybody else did. Everybody else did. If you look at Yankees Twitter, everybody was calling for Peraza to be the everyday shortstop. Rather, he needed the at bats, like you just said. He has no experience. He played just over 18 games, something like that. I don't even remember. Less than 20 games he played. And now we're seeing the results of. The guy went from taking on Baltimore, Texas Rangers pitchers, and now he's having to face against Framber Valdez, one of the best pitchers in all of baseball. This is the problem. The Yankees didn't even give him the reps, the opportunity to face off against good pitchers, the ones that were going to beat the crap out of him. And that's not to say he didn't provide value in other ways. He is the shortstop moving forward. IKF might get a single here and there, but the defensive performance that Peraza put on the field yesterday saved the Yankees a couple runs. Right? He made some just highlight plays. He was making the routine plays look easy, and he was making the flashy plays look even better. This is a guy who, at least in my opinion, made an argument that he could be the future of this team at shortstop. I don't know what Anthony Volpe's role will be next year or when they will pull him up, but Peraza with a full season of at-bats, I 100% think that he could be a contributor during the postseason with that momentum. The problem is he doesn't have that right now. You look at Jeremy Pena. Look how well he's playing right now. He's hitting. He's making plays. He's doing well for Houston. He's a rookie. That could have been Peraza. Instead, we were force-fed IKF and Donaldson's $25 million deal. And Donaldson had a double and a walk yesterday. He came up big with that walk at the end, so I'll give him credit where it's due. But it's too little too late. You can't disappear for 4 games in the playoffs. You got to be there every single day. You got to show up every single game. Judge... that ball should have been a homer. The wind, knocked it down, but that's not an excuse in the playoffs. You can't use that as an excuse. We wish the dome was closed. That's bullshit excuse, man. It can't happen. Now, what do the Yankees have to do to win Game 3 and really secure those 3 games in the Bronx? One, they need Garrett Cole to come and absolutely shove. They need Nestor Cortez to come in and absolutely shove. They got to take advantage of that short right porch, which they've done routinely. That ball, the only other place that ball would have been a home run, that judge shot in the 8th inning was Yankee Stadium. That's the only other place that would have been a home run. So, the Yankees are an opposite field hitting home run team. Judge, he pulls them. Stanton really, really has, predicated his game on those oppo shots to the right field. And right now, it's more about the offense just making contact to begin with. Like I said before, they struck out 17 times in game 1. They struck out 13 times in game 2. They have 30 combined strikeouts in 2 games. That is a losing recipe. If you can't make contact, there's no way you're winning any games. And Ryan, I'm not totally sure about this, but if I had to guess, I don't think that the Astros have set a game 3 pitcher yet, but it probably will be Lance McCullers Jr. That's who pitched in game 3 for them against Seattle. He did not pitch much during the regular season, only about 47 innings. So he's not like fully ramped up. He was injured a lot during the year. So, if there's any opportunity for the Yankees to steal a win and their offense to kind of rise to the occasion, it's against Lance McCullers Jr., right? Like that's their opportunity. So, looking at what the Yankees need to do right now, I think defensively, they've been stout. I think that aside from a couple of like run-ins, the Aaron Hicks, collision and Higashioka and Rizzo running into each other last night, ultimately Higgy caught it, but the wind was really blowing. When you look at what the Yankees need to do right now, what do you think the main variables are? Because right now, I think the number one thing is just to make more contact.
Yeah, I'd have to say the quality of contact and the quantity of contact have to both improve. They have to hit, man. I mean, it comes down to that. The Yankees have pitched well, right? They've pitched well against the Astros for most of the season. Pitching's rarely been this team's issue. It's hitting against quality pitching. So, the Yankees need to go out there. Yes, they need to make better contact. They need to make more contact first off. And then that contact has to be quality contact, right? We're going to sit here. We're sitting here very much advocating for them to make contact. But we're not advocating for a weak ground ball right at Bregman. We're advocating for, hey, let's get some line drives in there, pull a couple fly balls or hit them the other way if it's Yankee Stadium, and get some form of offense together, right? You mentioned Jeremy Pena, right? Jeremy Pena is not necessarily the most you wouldn't say his plate discipline's the best in the world, right? 3.9% walk rate, 24.2% strikeout rate. He hit 22 home runs, stole 11 bases. He's a good player. And the defense is amazing, but you look at him, he's already had his slumps during the year. So he's already been through the ups and downs of the season. In October, now you're seasoned. You know what I mean? You've experienced postseason baseball. For as good as Peraza is defensively, he looked lost at the plate against Framber. I don't think he looked very prepared against Framber Valdez. And am I going to sit here and blame the kid and say he sucks because he didn't look ready against Framber Valdez? No, because he's never experienced the ups and downs of the season. He's experienced playing some random games where none of these games matter in September, against the Texas Rangers, as you mentioned, and he hasn't played since when? When's the last time he played a major league game? You know what I mean? It's been almost 2 weeks, right? Since he's gotten a start, or gotten an at bat against major league pitching. We talk about how Matt Carpenter looks lost because he hasn't played in a while. How long has it been since Peraza's played? You know what I mean? So right now, this team needs someone to step up and hit a 3-run home run. That's really what it is, right? The Astros can kill you like that. The Astros can go out there. That's what Bregman did. Bregman killed the Yankees right then and there. If the Yankees get Bregman out, it was a 2-strike count from what I remember. If Bregman swings and misses and the Yankees get out of that, they could win this game 2-1. Right. I don't want to, assume the result will be the same, but I can say that 3-run home run is what killed the Yankees. So there's none of that from the Yankees, right? 2 strikes, 2 outs, the Yankees finding one, connecting to one and hitting it over the Crawford boxes, especially all those righties. I'm just curious as to how the Yankees have decided pulling fly balls in Houston is a terrible idea. Left field is unbelievably short. Judge could sneeze on a ball and hit it over left field. Glaber could sneeze on a ball and hit it over left field. I don't even think I think Stan could swing a ball over the Crawford boxes. So, the approach of this team is horrific. I mean, it's terrible, right? It's really, really bad. Bregman hit that ball 91 miles an hour. That's the quote Severino mentioned. Yeah, well, you know what he did? He pulled it. He pulled it over the Crawford boxes because he's a smart hitter. He's not, a stupid hitter like how these hitters have looked for us lately. So the Yankees have to know they have to go out and hit, man. If they don't drop 4 or 5 runs tomorrow minimum, I don't know what to say. And I think I've said this before on the podcast where I mentioned, the Yankees will have no problem replacing these guys. I can just list off guys in this lineup that I think the Yankees will have no problem moving on from if they don't start stepping it up. Carpenter, you're towards the end of your career, probably not going to come back if you don't, start hitting at some point, right? Donaldson, I can guarantee you if the Yankees find a place to send him, they will send him. Glaber, he's been up and down all year. The Yankees are going to have no problem replacing him if they feel like they want one of the younger guys to play. Higashioka, framing is something the Yankees have developed very well. Higashioka's hitting arbitration. They'll have no problem, saving $1 million and bringing up some random kid who can frame like Ben Wortvet. You know what I mean? Those are guys right there in this lineup that the Yankees will have no problem getting rid of if need be at the end of the season, right? No problem at all. There's no problem with that, right? So if these guys would like to remain in pinstripes, if they would like to remain on the New York Yankees, you got to start hitting, because this team gets sent home in an embarrassing fashion against the Astros. And I promise you the roster turnover will be the exact same as it was last year. A large exodus of players that were here for a very long time or expected to be here for a very long time. Gary wasn't safe. Gio wasn't safe. Voit wasn't safe. None of those guys were safe. And Gardner wasn't safe. These guys aren't safe either. So start hitting, because it's all on you. Don't point to the pitching staff. Don't point to anyone in that bullpen. Don't point to, this guy's a little shaky. Everyone in that pitching staff, for the most part, has done their job. As a whole, they've pitched well enough to win at least one game. Go out and hit. Because if tomorrow the Yankees pitching staff holds the Astros to 2 to 3 runs and the Yankees don't win that game, it's going to be an embarrassment. Dylan Lawson as well. I like Dylan Lawson. I really like the guy. But, ultimately, if the Yankees, there's no progression in the postseason offensively, who do you think is going to be one of the guys the Yankees put a lot of pressure on internally? It's going to be him. So, it's got to change. Something's got to change. Something's got to click for these guys, because it can't happen like last year. It can't happen like 2020 or like 2019 or 2018 or 2017. This team, well, I'll give them an excuse for 2017, but every other year where they just can't freaking hit when it matters. So start hitting, or else you're not going to be here very long. It's very simple.
Yeah, no, I agree. And look, I think that Harrison Bader is one of the guys that is going to thrive in this system. He can hit for power, as we've seen, but he's also an amazing base runner. He slaps balls the other way. He's been great. I really enjoyed watching Harrison Bader over the past couple of days and past couple of playoff games. But, I mean, you listed a couple guys who are not safe. Higashioka, Donaldson, I'd even say IKF is far from safe right now. Peraza will easily replace him. Hicks is gone if they find a place to send him. Luckily we have Rizzo on another year. I really, really like Rizzo. I think he's an integral piece to this team. Higashioka, like you said, is not really a net positive in any way. He was below average in framing this year, and I do believe offensively he's either a home run or he's nothing. Like, that's it. And that mentality is not going to work anymore. Like, the Yankees plucked Jose Trevino, and they have him locked up for a long time, so he'll be a primary starter for a while. But if the MLB ever goes to the robo-umps and ever goes to that automatic strike zone, Trevino's value plummets. Like, he's half of the value he is right now. So there is concern about that as well if that day ever comes. But having good hitting catchers are difficult in baseball. You got like guys like JT Realmuto. Like, it's hard to come by. You got to overpay for them. But the Yankees traditionally haven't done that. That's why they stuck with Gary Sanchez for so long, because they knew he could be a great hitter, and he just really wasn't. Struck out a lot, but this is a team that has all the quality to actually rise to the occasion. The problem is they're so streaky. If they're not all hitting simultaneously, the Yankees are just an arguably bad team. And we saw that during the second half of the postseason, the second half of the season after the All-Star break. But this team is capable. They all have to come together. They got to be simultaneously, hitting and playing well. Defensively, I think they're stout right now, but offensively, they have massive holes, massive liabilities. But hopefully in the Bronx, they can turn things around. Home crowd. You got Garrett Cole shoving on Saturday, so hopefully things turn around. But always happy to hear perspectives, narratives, and opinions below in the YouTube comments, my friends. Hopefully you guys enjoy this day off. We all certainly need a mental health day after losing 2 straight games to Houston. I just freaking hate that team so much, and I know we're going to get a shit ton of comments from Astros fans going crazy. So I really want us to turn things around and return the favor. But hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend. Have a drink. Spend some time, friends, family, as always. And we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Yankees episode.